This is my 12-inch Bosch glide saw. Now, I don't know if I'm not really going to call this a review, but there's a few things I like to touch on this saw, and a few things I like, and a couple of things that I really don't like. Now, one of the things that really intrigued me about this saw is that with the axial glide, you can put the saw right up against the wall. And from the back of the saw to the front is only 33 inches, so you can easily mount this saw on a 24-inch bench. Now, something that I didn't like with this saw, and I contacted Bosch shortly after I bought this saw, which was, I don't know, 4.5 years ago, and when it's locked in stationary position, if you can see there, see how much movement's in there? That saw will probably move an inch and a half. And it probably doesn't really hurt anything, but it's really annoying, and it shouldn't be like that. Now, when I did contact Bosch, they wanted me to send the saw from Halifax to Montreal at my own expense, which would have cost me probably a couple $100 just to ship this saw. This is a big saw, and I didn't have the box anymore, and so I just didn't bother. I just decided I would put up with it. But it's been annoying me ever since. Now, this saw's got 15 amp motor, and it's got some power. You can lay a 4x4 on here and it'll saw through that just like butter. Now, also, this saw's got a 14-inch cut on it, and it'll rip through pretty much anything that you can throw at it. Now, as you can notice in this saw, that as soon as I got it, shortly after I got it, I did put a forest blade on it, Chopmaster. And just in case you're wondering, are these blades worth the extra money? Well, I say absolutely. This blade has been on this saw for 4.5 years. It's still razor sharp, and it cuts glass smooth. Now, here's something you got to pay attention to. It's not a big deal, but this is a Starrate straight edge. And the wings are probably, I don't know, a tenth, maybe a tenth lower than the main table. So if you do put a small block of wood on there, you got to be careful that you don't tip it up when you push it down hard on the table, and that could skew your cut a little bit. So it's not a big deal, but it's something that you should be aware of. You know, as you can see that it's out by that much, so it's not a lot, but could make the difference from a square cut to not square cut. So as you can see here, inside the dust hood for the miter saw, I have a 6-inch duct with a blast gate on it, and so the dust will kind of funnel into the 6-inch pipe. And I also have a lever here, or a threaded rod that's hooked to my blast gate, where I can actually open it and close it. Now, one of the things I've done with this saw is that roughly about a 12-inch piece of 1.5-inch ABS pipe with an elbow on it and a 45, and I found a 45 here that would actually fit this flange. And what this does is just basically direct the dust down in behind the saw, so it just doesn't blow it all over the place. And with the dust collector on, it basically picks up all the dust that would normally fly out of the front of the saw. And now here's a cut on a 2x6 with no dust collection on. Now here's a cut on a 2x6 with a short piece of ABS that I've added on to the dust collection tube. Now I'll make the same cut on a 2x6 with my dust collector on. Now, as you can see here with that last cut with the dust collector on and that tube added onto the vacuum chute, there's very little dust left on the saw, and nothing was floating around in the air. So it does a pretty good job set up this way. And you know, if you got one of these miter saws set up in a stationary position where you're not going to move it, this is probably the way to go. Like I said earlier in this video, I've had this saw for 4.5 years, and my tools are well used, but they're not abused, and overall this is a pretty good saw. You know, I've had some quibbles about accuracy, but I would probably buy another one, and hopefully this video was of some use to you, and if it was, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and hopefully I'll have the time to make some more.